All right. Are we here? Have we started?
I think we're live.
And I unplug my headphones.
Off to a good
There
start.
we go. Nice. All right. It's funny. I've wanted to do a podcast for the longest time, but I never took the step to do it. And I feel like I've had valid reasons to be hesitant because I don't want to, like, I'm aware of my own capacity to mislead. And I feel like this is something that a lot of podcasters should be more aware of because we have just a lot of people just spouting a bunch of stuff. And this is like a big resource for people today, like where they receive their information is just people talking about stuff that they're not necessarily experts on. So, yeah, I just want to be aware of this. I'm not going to come on here and like talk about vaccine science or something like this because like there's something to be said for authority, like in a certain sense. Like I'm not an authority on a lot of subjects, so I'm going to try to be mindful of just, yeah, be humble and not just shoot the shit
Not
about
not go
nonsense.
not go like a white alpha male
Yeah,
podcaster mode. So
exactly. But isn't this like the way you become successful? You have to be like racist, but you have to like give yourself enough plausible deniability. So you're like, no, I'm actually being misunderstood. And then you have people like defending you online, like, no, he's not racist. You're taking him out of context. And then you get all this controversy around you, you know?
yeah, I see what you're saying. I love that we're already this deep in the first 2 minutes of the podcast. We were right before recording this episode. We were just talking about like, yeah, we better be candid. We better not hide anything.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good to
Like racism. We
yeah, exactly. Just let it all hang out. Let it all hang out for sure.
No, I think, man, to your point, I believe the world is just resonating on that frequency right now, where we want don't necessarily need something that resonates with the highest alignment within us, but something that resonates with the parasitic programs that is running our lives
Yeah,
for I'd say probably most people today.
yeah,
I mean, of the 8 billion humans that exist, like
for sure.
most people aren't aware that there's a higher path to be taken here than to just do whatever your programs tell you to do from moment to moment.
Yeah,
And so when somebody comes along with some nonsense, it resonates with the nonsense within
yeah,
everybody. And
exactly. But then it can also just like perpetuate that and like make that whole thing bigger. Um, so yeah, I guess my point is if you think of the like information ecosphere, like there's a lot of pollution. Like we don't just live in a polluted ecosphere like environmentally, like we informationally we live in a polluted ecosphere.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
there's so much misinformation going around. A
so
lot of
much
people
more
speak,
polluted.
yeah, and if you think of the information ecosphere like as a public pool, like I don't want to just jump in the public pool and just take a big shit in the public pool. But this is like what got me going. It's like, okay, but the ecosphere,
Good
information
analogy.
ecosphere, it is so polluted that even if you're taking a shit in the public pool, even if it's just like a little bit less shitty than a lot of the other shit that's going around, you're still like on aggregate like
Okay, so I
elevating.
think we've arrived at our intention for this first podcast episode. We will try to take a smaller shit than everybody else.
Yes. Yeah. That's, oh my god.
Oh, true, true. Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody's taking a shit in the public
Yeah. But
information.
like this is just part of being human. Like just we're just caught up in our own delusions and illusions, and we are just having verbal diarrhea all the time. But
Yeah,
it's just that like the spiritual process is just this process of like just slightly like purifying that and becoming less shitty and
yeah,
moving
yeah,
towards
yeah, man. There's wow, and I guess shit is kind of relative as well. Um,
yeah, for
it, it,
sure.
it's like what is I've been trying to figure out if there's a legit. Wow, these thoughts are so deep, man. I'm having to really like these are such nuanced thoughts I'm trying to bring to the table here. This is like really got to be careful about how I word this, so that it comes across. But I've been watching. I don't watch politics, right? I don't watch the news because it brings me down, and I don't
Yeah.
believe in tuning into that frequency, especially not to start your day like a lot of people do. Um,
Uh-huh.
and I have a flatmate right now who's like major is really 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 into politics, and he all he talks about is politics basically. And so
I am too, to
I
one
can
degree.
yeah okay nice. So we can talk about that a little bit. I've been getting I've been absorbing a little bit more media just through this flatmate of mine than I normally would. And I've been trying to find a thread that that stays true for both sides of the political spectrum and argument right now, because the arguments have started reaching so deep right now. You got the conspiracy theorists on one side, just absolutely, saying, I don't know, the people in charge are reptile people trying to take control of, and trying to kill you with the COVID vaccine, for example, is one
Hmm.
conspiracy theory, or dumbing us down with the emissions of airplanes, or putting birth control in tap water or whatever. All these conspiracy theorists going around and no real evidence. And at the same time, you got the other end of the spectrum. Like God, I just saw this pretty scary thing yesterday. Actually, the UK just announced that you're gonna have to have this electronic ID now to be allowed to work, and it seems like a Big Brother kind of operation on the surface, at least. And
Hmm.
I saw this on Instagram. Context is important. I saw this on Instagram in a post that was criticizing this decision of the UK Parliament, by this guy called Chris something something, who's this holistic spiritual wellness coach for men on Instagram. And so I was getting this information through the lens of a holistic spiritual men's coach on Instagram of this, Big Brother move in the UK. And he was saying all this stuff like they don't want your ID, they want your soul, and et cetera, et cetera. So you just, it's, the more, the more I, the more I become familiar with all this seemingly impossible to solve disagreement in the world. I don't know. How do you deal with it? I guess that would be my question. How do you deal? You said you were kind of into politics, and we've never talked
Yeah, I
about
mean,
politics before.
I don't want to get into like specifics about policy and stuff because I mean, I'm open to that as well, but it's politics is such, it's one of the thorniest subjects because everybody has such strong opinions about it, but most people, including myself, don't really have a deep enough understanding. But we all like pretend like we're experts in some way. But politics is just like, to really understand politics, you would need to understand like sociology, psychology, metaphysics, like all these different subjects play into human collective action on a collective scale.
Yeah.
So it's really hard for any one person to really have a comprehensive understanding of these systems because they're just so vastly complex. But it's the one field where everybody needs to have an opinion about it.
Yeah.
But it's just like, and we do need to because we need to participate in it to one degree or another, which is kind of this tricky, you know, path we're trying to thread.
So how do you feel about personality politics then? The idea that not everybody needs to know everything about politics. You just need to find a person who's in politics as opposed to party politics, like personality politics would be the solution, where you find a person that you kind of vibe with who's in politics, who seems to represent your opinions more or less, and you just allow them to take the real deep dive into all this stuff.
Yeah, I agree with that too, to some degree, because like I would want someone who is an expert more than I am to be calling the shots
Exactly.
more than me.
And we can't all be super experts, like you were saying.
Yeah, but I think we have like some responsibility to be informed, and this is like the balance. You want to be informed, but it's such a rabbit hole that it can just pull you in, and it's so interwoven with like human tribal psychology that you're very easily pulled into some kind of a tribe. And just my tribe is always right, and this other tribe is always wrong. And then you have the other people who step out of it. Oh, both sides are the same. No, there's also nuance, because like sides, they can be vastly different. But I see this a lot with like people who are like into spirituality, like, oh, I'm not into politics, I'm kind of above all that. But I think like in that case, you're just completely outsourcing that to the most ignorant people and just letting them take care of the process.
True.
So
it's certainly a lot of people who pretend to be too good for politics.
Yeah.
But all that really does is, as you say, give the power to the people who actually take the time to invest their energy in the subject.
Exactly.
So it's like not making your own decisions means letting somebody else decide for you.
Right. But then to some degree, as we spoke like before, like you do need to outsource that capacity to some degree, because like you have your own life to take care of.
Yeah.
So
you have a job, you know.
Yeah.
It can be somebody else's job to deal with policy. Right.
So you just need to be informed enough to be able to navigate that, but you don't need to like, and it for a lot of people, and me included at times, it's not even about informing yourself. It just like tickles your reptile brain to go into politics. It stimulates your fear, and it gets you excited, and like, oh, it gets you to hate all these other people. They're so stupid. And
people love their 5 minutes of fussing, just like oh man, I can't believe what you saw in the newspaper. Wow, I can't believe they did that. You know, people just love being in that mode.
Yeah, and we loved like tribalism. It's such like, it's so ingrained in our DNA, and I think we need a healthy outlet for that. And I'm not sure politics should be like, just go take that out, like in football, you know, represent your team, like get that out of your system, and then like try to be more adult about it in the more consequential realms of life.
Football is the most tribal shit of all time. That's why I kind of fell out of love with it, honestly.
That's actually why I fell in love with it, because it's like, it's so funny. Like I can just like, I'm aware that of this psychological process that takes place, and I don't hate, like I'm aware that this is a game and some people are not. They're just like fully believe like my team is the best, and I really hate all the other teams. But I pretend to hate my rivals, but it's just for the fun of the game, because like when you're watching a movie, you want the villain, like you want this kind of tension to take place. Yeah. And I'm just aware that I'm just using this as a tool to like exercise this deep primal instinct to belong to a team and to compete with other teams.
We're getting to the point here, which is to be truly alpha, you need to become meta.
Exactly.
Exactly. Which is the same approach we've often talked about taking on life, or often is perhaps the wrong word. But I remember one of our craziest phone calls about a couple months back was when you were telling me about your meta phase. I don't know if you want to go into that here.
That's a whole rabbit hole unto itself.
But maybe I could briefly connect that to what we were talking about by basically describing the idea for listeners who perhaps haven't grasped what we're talking about yet. Is that I was thinking, we were thinking, taking subscribing to the Hinduist ideology that we are all God, just playing out this drama in different costumes, pretending that we are not all one and the same being.
Right.
And just like you might enjoy football for the tribalism, it stimulates in you the reptile brain stimulation while simultaneously allowing your reasoning mind to prevail in the background, just like kind of like an owner with a dog on a leash, like, yes,
Exactly.
go and enjoy this for a second,
Yeah.
just so we can do with our daily lives. Because really, I mean, this character to me that I am, for example, it's just a dog on a leash of God, essentially.
Exactly. Yeah. And it just takes a lot of the sting out of it when you have that level of detachment of like, okay, this is a character that I'm playing. And, it's just like when you're watching like a horror movie or like a very gory scene that like you have a hard time watching.
Yeah.
And then you remind yourself in the background, oh, it's a movie. So it's like you create this detachment and then suddenly it's like easier to stomach because, and that can happen also just on the level of your personal suffering.
Yeah.
But it's more engrossing. You are kind of somehow locked into it to some degree. But
I think it was Mickey Singer who said it is like the human experience is like watching a movie except with all your senses.
Yeah, it's just virtual reality taken to its ultimate potential.
Yeah, exactly.
The big G. It's funny, like I feel like it's always important to clarify because like this word God is probably the most misunderstood word on the planet.
Yeah.
And I didn't used to use that word.
Yeah, me neither.
Until I experienced God, and then I got it.
And then I got it.
Then I got it. But it's like, just to clarify, this is not some bearded guy in the clouds, like watching you while you masturbate and judging you.
Yeah.
Like when we speak about God, we just speak about this universal, ever-pervading consciousness that is absolutely everything and everyone, and is speaking through my body and your body. And
yeah, it kind of brings this whole reality into existence.
Or even that implies a certain sense of separation, because then you're speaking about God creating reality, which is somehow separate from itself.
Yeah.
But language is inherently dualistic in most ways, so it's kind of hard to get away from that and to really speak truthfully. It goes back to this quote of if I speak, I tell a lie, but if I'm silent, I'm a coward.
Right. Yeah, I think it's important that we go into this on your official first podcast episode, because this is very central to everything that will be discussed on this podcast now and in the future, I presume. So it's good that we're going into the
for sure. Just to expel all the people that may not be interested or ready to dive into this.
Get out of here.
Get out of here. We don't want you. You heathens.
You heathen. Oh my God. Yeah, you know what's hilarious about that though? It's that Christians would, like, legit Christians of the organized religion Christianity would call us heathens.
Absolutely. It's because we're bastardizing their term of God. And for them, God has to be this bearded guy who really doesn't like that you masturbate or have sex with other men.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Yes. Man. What strange preferences.
Yeah. And so coincidental. Like, it's all the same preferences as the people that made up this story had. Like,
exactly. Yeah. I wonder how that happened.
Yeah. It's funny because I feel like to some degree or another, you could say like the holy texts are divinely inspired, and I think like a lot of this like comes from people tapping into something. But I also see just humans as very incomplete filters, and we may receive like this very pure source of water, but then we just taint it with our own prejudices and delusions and misconceptions. So it just like makes its way into all the religious texts, and like to be actually a conscious follower of a religion, you have to actually take that in and purify all the nonsense of the people that put it in the text, so you can get to the core of what they were actually tapping into.
Exactly. So at that point, you might even say it's more efficient to just go to the root of the thing to begin with instead of
Yes,
trying to
exactly.
filter
But
through the Bible.
exactly, for sure. I mean, it's everybody finds their own way, and for a lot of people, this is the resource they have. And like, it could be anything. It could be playing the guitar or going out running, or you know, since God is everything, you can basically find God in everything. But certain things they kind of catch you more in delusion, and certain paths are more effective. So I wouldn't say like just go out and join a cult, because like you may get stuck, and but they may also give you like some cool meditation techniques, and you may actually uh encounter God through your cult. But then you're like financially dependent, and they've got a stranglehold on you. So like
Yeah.
it's not all equal in that way.
Yeah, yeah. And there's a hierarchy, there's a person who is the most woke of the
Yeah,
community who,
exactly.
gets to, and then their reptile brain eventually enters the chat.
Yeah, no, I mean like a cult is just a mechanism of the reptile brain to get its materialistic needs met for
Yeah.
sex and power and money. Like that's all it is. But it's funny. I was just re-listening to this episode about cult psychology from Leo Gura from actualize.org, who like one of my main teachers. And yeah, he was basically just talking about this, like that a lot of people who start cults, they have encountered or had some kind of mystical experience, but then what happens is the ego comes back in, and then it co-opts that experience and says, oh, I'm special, I'm enlightened, I have to go preach this to all the other people. And then they create these structures around that they're just purely egoic, resource extraction mechanisms.
Yeah, yeah. How do you reconcile that in your own life? Because it, you do have to, I mean, we do live most of our lives as the ego, as we've
Yeah,
often discussed.
right.
So how do you incorporate this meta-ness into the egoic experience?
I mean, I guess it just comes back to identity. It's like we were speaking about with the football. Like if I really identify with your team and just completely believe that, you can actually just start to genuinely hate all the other fans of all the other teams. Like you mistake something that's supposed to be a game for reality.
Yeah,
And that's where you get hooliganism and all that stuff. And I think it's the same with the ego. It's a character that I'm playing, but it's not essentially who I am. But I enjoy playing this character,
yeah,
and I intend to do so for as long as I can, and then I will go on doing everything else forever. And
yeah.
there's
Shit.
ultimately nothing that's lost. But it's a big mistake that a lot of people like. It's actually like woven into many religions, like this idea of transcending and like escaping the confines of the ego, always like trying to get out in some sense.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
you may have temporary experiences of like being liberated from the ego, but to be completely liberated from the ego also means that you can just embody yourself and play this character of the ego freely without being entrapped in it.
Yeah.
And that's a process that just like it's far from done. Like in my case, that's
Yeah.
maybe a lifelong journey to liberate yourself. But I'm
Many,
aware
many
at least that,
lifetimes.
yeah, yeah, that's another discussion. Reincarnation, like that's something I'm
Yeah.
agnostic about.
We
Like
can, can go into that.
it's just because like I don't like to form strong opinions about stuff that I've not directly verified for myself.
Yeah.
So like just like with the term God, I didn't used to speak of or use that term, even though I believed in some sense of universal consciousness.
Yeah.
But then when I directly verified and experienced that for myself, that's when okay, no, I get it. Like God is the appropriate term for me.
Hmm. Yeah.
And it's the same like with most things for me. I try not to engage in belief, basically. I'm just open-minded to whatever may be true, and I do my best to go and verify that for myself.
Yeah, I
And
think
reincarnation is one subject. It's very hard, and people have tried, like in some of these lineages, like in some Tibetan monk lineages. It's like somebody was like, "Okay, can you like leave a note for me, like in this next life, to verify that people have tried to conduct like, experiments on this, but ultimately, like it's really hard to correct for just people like believing that this is happening or
yeah,
you know
totally. What do you think about the concept of whatever you believe becomes your reality in in relation to rebirth?
can you elaborate?
Yes. So a big realization for me on my path, because I was raised as as an atheist in a very atheistic society of Iceland.
Yay, same.
You were raised an atheist as well in your
I
family.
mean, not like indoctrinated, but it was just non-religious and I became an atheist.
Yeah, and it was
Hardcore.
like that's the perspective I had, but I grew up making fun of religion a
Yeah,
lot as
me
well,
too.
right? Yeah.
Rightfully so in many
Yeah,
areas, let's be clear.
certainly in many areas, but there were like in hindsight, I've seen that there were some jokes at the expense of religion that weren't quite justified, you know?
Right.
Like some this is relates to the point I was going to make about what you believe becomes your reality. Like you
Right.
you do get to decide. Like it's not to the scientifically minded, to the purely scientifically minded, the mindset that I grew up in both my family and my culture, our culture, in Iceland. And nothing, the highest value is intellectual honesty,
Right.
the not kidding yourself, and that's why religion is so hilariously ridiculous. You know, it's like you guys are you think you're gonna go to heaven after you're like you you idiots. Do you believe in Santa Claus too? You know, it's like can't believe this shit. And I mean, it is ridiculous, and there are people who actually believe in what you said before, the beardy Mr. Beardy Santa Claus in the sky.
Yeah.
And that's hilarious and that's ridiculous. And I still think that's ridiculous and hilarious. But then I realized I don't want intellectual honesty to be my highest value.
Right.
I want happiness to be my highest value. You know, I
Right. I
want,
think they go together in
yes,
a
I mean,
way.
I suppose in a way, truth is love and love is truth.
Yeah.
But the conversation around what is truth has just gone so far beyond the scientific method now for me,
Yeah.
of
Totally.
verification, like you were saying. Like, because I
Yeah.
realized essentially there are things that aren't necessarily verifiably true that are still worth believing in.
Totally. I mean, yeah, I personally stay away from the word believe because it kind of because when I don't know something, I just remain open to any possibility. Like to believe is like it's a certain and people have different relationships with that word. So like that's just my personal thing. Like I try not to engage in that.
I mean,
Um,
I get where you're coming from. I
yeah.
do find
But
that.
you're touching on something very important about like truth and proof because proof depends on truth to exist. Truth is more fundamental than proof, and it's not the other way around.
Ooh, okay. Wow. Yeah, you're that's a that's a fat thought you just dropped on me. I've never thought
Yeah.
about that before. Okay.
So, like, the absolute truth can really never be proven because it's self-evident in that way. It's what's called a tautology. It's truth in its very nature. It
Yeah.
doesn't need to rely on any kind of process of verification.
Yes.
The absolute truth. But the thing is, we have many different domains of truth. We have the absolute truth, and then we have relative truths. And everything that science explores is relative reality. because it's the reality we inhabit that is mediated through our finite minds and our sensory inputs. And science is it's engaged in a dualistic process of accurately describing that reality to the
Yeah.
best of its ability.
Yeah.
And in that sense, it's very valid for those purposes. But for the exploration of absolute reality, those methods, they just don't hold because you're always engaging with reality through your mind. But that's why I would want to expand the definition of science to include something like meditation or self-inquiry.
Yeah.
Because that's inquiring directly into the nature of consciousness, which is not going through this middleman process of going through a scientific method. It's just going directly to the source.
Yes.
And that's the only way to be able to explore reality directly, absolute reality.
Yeah, this is the good old, like, why do you need the word table when you got a table in front of you? This is
Right.
This is right there.
Yeah, we just live in these conceptual virtual worlds that are just, we're just stuck in our descriptions of reality. Like when you're a baby, everything is super pure, like everything is amazing. And or when you do psychedelics, it strips away your conceptual mind in that way, so you can actually directly experience things. But when you're growing up, you get filled with all these ideas of, well, this is a tree, this is a mountain, this is the sky, this is the sun. So you're just living in this conceptual world that puts a barrier between you and reality itself.
Yeah, you and yourself.
Yeah, you and yourself, basically. Yeah. So we construct these mental prisons and we just live in them. And this is like what causes most of our suffering.
Yeah, I'd probably go so far as to say all of our suffering.
In a certain sense, yeah. Yeah, it's true. Because even like when you're in a lot of physical pain, I mean, this is the stuff, like I have a chronic condition, I have very strong physical pain. But I've also noticed through meditation, it's even possible to deconstruct the idea that physical pain is bad in any way. It's harder to do because we're biologically wired to dislike pain.
Yeah.
Because it helps us survive. It's a very valid,
of course,
reason. But I have had those experiences where, like all the badness of the sensation is just revealed to be my own interpretation of the sensory input.
Yes, because you're able to just go into the sensation itself for what it is instead of the interpretation of it. That's what you're saying, right?
Right. But I would say that is harder to do with physical pain, and like,
oh yeah,
with a lot of very enlightened people, like you could stab them in the eye with a fork and they would not be so enlightened anymore.
Yeah. Oh my god. That was so far beyond my usual, like what I usually say is, if you think you're enlightened, try spending a week with your family. You went with try sticking a fork in your eye.
I guess it's the same thing for a lot of people. Probably harder to spend time with your family for honestly, a lot of people.
Some people would much rather fall on a sword.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, but it's the same principle. It's just a certain kind of experience that you develop some kind of resistance to.
Yeah. Or that you're kind of born with in the case of pain, I suppose.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty biologically wired into the brain.
Exactly. But then again, you see, like, you know, I don't remember exactly what this case was, but I don't know if you know the cover art for that Rage Against the Machine album. I think that's a real picture of a monk engaged in this protest activity when they lit themselves on fire.
Oh.
And they just sat in meditation.
Oh, that's heavy.
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah. I mean, you're saying that's a legit thing that actually happened. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure, like, as I say, I don't want to go spouting stuff that I haven't verified, but like, I'm pretty sure this was like some kind of protest movement against oppression from some monks. And this proves the point that, like, you can be so detached from physical input that you can basically light yourself on fire and just sit there in meditation.
Yes.
that's
Yes.
possible to do. It's not realistic for most people. Like for most people, like we just are trying to do a lesser version of that. That when your family member is screaming at you, that you can not go into reactivity.
Yeah. Yes. So basically, kids listening at home, if somebody can light themselves on fire and be chill, you can do your homework.
Yes.
This is what we're saying.
Right.
I just looked up a picture of this. It looks absolutely horrific and disturbing.
Yeah. But it's also very gangster.
Yeah, very gangster. Somebody put up a picture on the screen for the people watching on video right now.
Yeah. Wow.
Crazy. Yeah. Yes. I mean, have you read Autobiography of a Yogi?
Wait, was this Yogananda?
Yes.
I know about this. I've not read it.
Okay. This is one of my favorites. I've gone through this one twice. It's like a big old 17-hour audiobook that I've listened to now twice, and it's full of
Download it.
these
Like on
kind of
Audible.
miraculous stories. Yes, get it on Audible. This episode is not sponsored.
It's sponsored. We're making it happen.
He just talks about all these crazy, miraculous stories of these Indian saints performing miracles, much as Jesus did. Like, in one story, a monk gets his arm chopped off at the shoulder, I believe. And he's just like, the policeman was chasing somebody he believed to be a robber, and they called after him to stop, and he didn't stop. He just kept walking, and they caught up to him, and for some reason one of the policemen had an axe of all weapons and chopped off one of his arms, and then he saw it wasn't the guy who was after, and he was like, "Oh shit, I'm sorry, I chopped off your arm." And the monk was like, no worries, child. And he picked up his arm and he just walked off.
Right.
And then he was seen a few days later, apparently with his amputated arm grown back or somehow reinstalled.
Okay, interesting.
It's full of these kinds of stories that make me go, like, what am I listening to right now? Is this... Am I seriously expected to believe this? Am I?
Right. I mean, first of all, this is why we have due process. Like, this is what some people are trying to strip away in this moment. But like, check that you have the right guy before you chop his arm off.
Yes. Yes.
But yeah, I mean, this is again like where we get into the territory of like, honestly, like I preach radical open-mindedness. I am open to the possibility that crazy stuff can happen. I'm skeptical as well.
Yeah.
And I think it's like that combination is a healthy one to have. Like a skeptical mind. Like you don't want to be like so open-minded and naive that you just like, this is how people get into cults. They just don't think critically. But then again, I have had my illusions burst in the past of thinking that everything is very clear cut and concrete. And then, okay, reality is very different than I thought.
Yeah.
So by now I've learned to be open to that anything could be possible. But okay, yeah. Actually, let me kind of take back the tone of voice that I used to say what I just said about like, oh, am I supposed to believe this? Yeah. Because I do relate to what you're saying right now about the kind of the boundaries for what you believe to be possible are ever expanding, at least in my case. I think if you're on the path of self-actualization, of constantly chasing the next new improved version of yourself, which essentially just means constantly finding new situations that are challenging to you and enjoying doing hard stuff and growing through discomfort. I think the boundaries for what you believe to be possible are always going to be growing. Right.
And yeah, that's certainly been the case for me as well. Honestly, once you take psychedelics, once you go on your first hero's journey dose of psilocybin, there's just no going back. You come back and you're like, what? I can't. Like,
Everything that I thought about reality could be wrong.
yeah, it's what?
That's a very healthy thing, but it's also something that some people are not ready for.
Yeah,
And like there is a certain danger and this becoming so popularized that you have people who are not ready to have all their, because like your concepts of reality, they provide a certain kind of safety and familiarity to you. And people who are unstable, they rely on their worldview as an anchor in a certain sense.
mm,
And I used to really, when I was younger, believe that it was in everybody's best interest to see the truth. And I noticed over time that it really made people uncomfortable, certain people. Like
yeah.
that in a certain sense you're violating their sovereignty if you're like just truth, unloading truth on everybody.
Okay, I like this topic because
Yeah.
I have a friend who absolutely he doesn't pull any punches when it comes to truth. He just shouts it out at everybody, and sometimes in a bit of a violent way for my perception. And
Yeah.
he always says, "Love is truth, and truth is love." And I kind of
That's
see
true.
where he's coming from. Um, we've had our disagreements as well. It's it can be too much, and like Jesus said when he was asked to move a mountain. You remember that story? It's like, if you're so powerful, if you're really the son of God, can you move that mountain over there? And he was like, I could, but if you were if you were on my level, essentially is what he said.
Get on
Then
my
you,
level, bitch.
then, yeah, because Mark 3:15, get on my level, bitch.
Yes. Now I would want to read the Bible.
Yes,
Somebody should make the gangster Bible.
yes. But he said, if you were on my level, comma, bitch, comma, then you would know why that mountain is exactly where it's supposed to be.
Right, exactly.
And so that truth, you know, and some people
Right.
don't want to see the truth. Some people are not ready for the truth. And we're getting into dangerous territory again now because we're saying like, it's kind of, you could see how this could be interpreted as being patronizing almost,
Yeah, like
saying
we
that,
know the
okay,
truth.
we know the truth, you can't,
Right.
you're not quite there yet.
Exactly.
Sorry, but also holding truth or what you perceive to be holding your relative truth, at least from other people, because
Right.
you don't think they can handle it yet. Like
Right.
it is kind of patronizing.
In a certain sense, it's also just takes sensitivity like to where people are at. Because like when you tap into the truth, like there's a certain undeniability about it. Like in a certain sense, you just not speaking about relative truth, the absolute truth. It's so self-evident that there's no doubt in your mind anymore that you have found the truth. This is not the place I'm living from every day, but I have access to those states. So it's important to distinguish a state from a stage. And this is what a lot of people. This goes back to the cult conversation. Like you can,
It's not a phase, mom.
yeah, basically, yeah, exactly. But it is a phase, and it will pass. And the thing is, will you be humble enough to notice that when it's past, or will you still go around like believing that you're in this state? And this is where people get into trouble, and this is where you get like corrupt religious leaders and cult leaders and all this stuff. I did lose my train of thought, but you know,
Yeah,
here
yeah,
we
yeah.
are.
We're at least we're finally onto psychedelics in
Yeah.
some capacity. I was looking forward to the psychedelic conversation because I feel like
Yes.
we can go deep on God on
Yeah.
that territory.
Yeah, for sure.
And to be fair, I think you have quite a bit more experience with the psychedelics than I do, just in terms of volume consumed.
Yes, too much volume at times, and this is one danger of the thing is like extremism is just like it's dangerous because extremism breeds extremism. Like in this way that, you know, growing up, at least where I grew up, you receive like very strict propaganda from schools and parents, like this stuff is evil, this stuff is the devil, it like you try it once, it's gonna ruin your life, and just putting all these things under like these vastly different substances that have vastly different functions, all under the same umbrella.
God.
And then like when I smoked weed for the first time, I don't know if it was 15, and then I was like, oh, you guys fucking lied to me. I guess everything you said was false.
Full of shit.
Yeah, and this is the danger of this kind of black and white thinking, is because when you realize that you were lied to, you can have a tendency to just run all the way in the other direction. Like, oh, there can be no problem with smoking weed all the time. This is just great. And that's how it felt in the beginning, you know.
Yes.
But I have definitely taken it overboard from going into that mentality. And I just think it would have been so much more productive to receive some kind of a balanced discussion about, like, you know, there's different types of usage, there's different contexts. People use this religiously. Some people say they get this out of it, then this is what abuse looks like, and here is how you distinguish. And it's the same with alcohol, like when is something becoming an addiction or abusive, and what are the psychological reasons why? Like, all of this should be part of the educational process, and this kind of fear mongering just has the opposite effect that it's trying to have.
Yes, and make no goddamn mistake, that was some fear mongering that we got. Yeah. Oh my God.
Absolutely. And I do think it's severely, like, more extreme here than in some other places. I've spoken to people from other European countries.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know that, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. But we have imported a lot of cultural aspects from America, from the US, and I think this is one of them.
Yeah.
But my friend Martin Ball, he says, just say no to drugs. KNOW, just say no. And I resonate with that, you know, just be informed. Yeah, so that's an important caveat to get out of the way, because I think people do speak slightly too loosely without giving the proper context around this. And
yeah, go ahead.
Yes. And I have, like, because having this fear mongering in your brain, it can act as some sort of a guardrail for some people never to touch this. And I have seen some people who just stayed away and then realized, okay, like, this is not as black and white as I thought. And then they just fall in all the way into addiction.
Yeah.
So I would like my words not to inspire that, rather just for people to be as informed as they possibly can be. Yeah.
But then the next question is, like, where do I get my information from?
Yes, and this goes back to the topic of, like, the information ecosphere being so polluted and nobody knows who to trust anymore.
Yeah.
And
everybody's shouting these extreme opinions at each other. It's like,
yes, exactly. But then in that case, I would recommend go watch a video from Leo Gura on actualize.org. It's called High Quality versus Low Quality Perspectives. And it gives you a set of criteria on how to distinguish high quality perspectives from low quality perspectives, so you can actually distinguish for yourself and learn to recognize what's coming from a high quality perspective.
Okay. I'd like to see this one. Is it another 3-hour long one?
Yes. That's how he operates. But I appreciate that, because these are just not topics that you're gonna unravel in a 20-minute video.
Yeah, totally.
Like, if you really wish to understand something, like, just taking the time to listen to all the nuance and all the correction for the misunderstanding and all the applications from different perspectives.
Yeah, man, because I think you're getting to a fundamental misunderstanding of how we consume and install information in our brains in the form of newly formed opinions, etc., that we base on stuff that we hear. Is that you gotta... Wait, what the heck was I gonna say? We're so...
Try to remember. I do have to pee again.
Okay.
I drink a lot of water.
think the problem of choosing what information to install in the form of new opinions or which form a part of our worldview essentially, and our ego, and the thing that we filter our experience through, is that like a mistake a lot of people make is to think that you're somehow going to come to a point where you can say, I got it, like I know all the information now. Because you were talking about how long this dude's videos are, and you were talking about the value of just the fact that they are this long, because these are really nuanced topics, and you benefit from taking in all this nuance around these topics, and they actually make you wiser, as opposed to just consuming a 5-minute newsreel, just like, here's what you're supposed to think about X, Y, and Z, and this is the COVID vaccine, and you should take it, and you need to get an electronic ID or you're not allowed to work. Like what's happening in the UK right now. I think the fundamental wisdom is to always be humble enough to know that you don't know,
Yeah, exactly.
And just keep being hungry for more stuff that might add value to.
Totally. And then there's the other side of that coin is like, there's also something that's called false humility, where people downplay their own understanding. And it's also okay when you've really understood something to say, aha. But that is arrived at through this long process of humility. But, that cracked for me at a certain point where I was, using a lot of psychedelics. And I realized that I am God. Not just me specifically. Everybody is God. Yeah. But there's no
make the same mistake Jesus did.
Yeah. Just to be clear, but I just started like, yes, exactly. But in a certain sense, I did, because I just went around like spouting this to everybody, and
so you did make the same mistake Jesus did.
Yes, and they did send me to the emergency.
Oh my God! I just realized the parallel. Like I'm so familiar with the story, I never saw this parallelism.
Yeah, exactly, but it's most people are not going to appreciate the truth delivered in that way, and this gets into the topic of what's called containment, of like withholding that and knowing when it's the right moment to share it. But what snapped for me is just like, I didn't care anymore what anybody thought. I was just like, I just need to like express this to absolutely everybody. Yeah. And I was done playing like, no, I don't know, maybe it's this and maybe it's that. It was like, okay, I see how it is. Yeah. And I'm not gonna hold it back. And that was a very liberating process. But the thing is, like, you want to have a certain container to go through that experience, because that can interact with the external world in ways that are not harmonious for you or the external world.
Yeah, it's essentially just no way to tell what's going to happen exactly.
Yeah.
Like it might.
So this is why people go to retreats and like specific sessions to go through this.
Yeah, man, it's such an important, potent topic, just the container that you're in. Especially in relation to the conversation about psychedelics, obviously.
Yeah.
Like you want to make sure you're in the right setting, and in the right house, or out in nature, somewhere you feel comfortable, with the right people who preferably speak your mother tongue. You're not having to communicate in a second or third language, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lord knows I've made that mistake.
Yeah.
As well.
But this is also like a part of the lack of education we have about these things. It's like our culture has not learned to grapple with these things, and it's getting popularized very fast. So I think as a society, we just have a responsibility to educate ourselves and learn how to utilize these things in the safest way possible, because there's just going to be collateral damage that comes along because people are just inherently interested in this stuff and they want
Yeah.
to try it. There was no way to keep me from doing this. I was just had this burning curiosity,
Yeah.
passion to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't have the most ideal resources. And I would want the people coming after me to have the resources I did not have and to
Yeah.
be able to go through that experience more safely. Um, so I think that's partly why it's so important for people to speak about this
Yeah.
and to bring it to the surface, because everything that stays in the dark just festers and turns into, you know, a moldy clump of, whatever.
And then you gotta finally face that demon, that moldy clump of a
Yeah,
demon when you go on that big ayahuasca trip. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Which is what's happening. Like it, as above, so below. It's so true, because these things are true on an individual scale. Like if you're suppressing some emotions or some trauma, that's gonna pop up again. And I
Yeah.
think it's the same. Like if we're gonna suppress all these substances, okay, we're gonna push it into the black market. We're gonna create all this crime around it, and then people don't have the correct resources to be able to do this safely,
Uh,
like all this stuff. So that's just gonna fester in the same way on a collective level.
yeah. 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 Absolutely. And we're on the way there. I mean, we
Yeah,
are to some extent moving in the right direction, I feel. But at the same time, it feels like there's an equal but opposite counterwave forming.
yeah.
Like, like it's, somehow we're still operating in terms of these counterwaves on a collective human
and
level.
and that's always how it is. Like this is what's called ego backlash on the individual level. Like when you're making a lot of progress, meditating a lot, your ego will tend to want to clamp down. Um,
Mm.
and for example, like this is what I perceive like Trumpism in America to be. Like people just get afraid of all the social progress, so it's like, oh, we need to clamp down, we need to go back to the past.
It's
You
like
know,
is
they're wearing that like on their hats, like go back to the past, basically.
yeah.
And it's this collective ego. It's this collective ego response of like we're so afraid of what the future may look like and all these changes, and people are dissolving our definitions of gender and social hierarchy and all this stuff. So it's like there's this collective fear response that comes in, is like, no, like, we're gonna
We're gonna
crack down on this.
not make any more progress because we don't believe we deserve it. Is that what you're saying?
I think people are just afraid of change.
Okay, yeah, because I'm trying to wait. I wanna elaborate on the thought I just had because I'm familiar with something, and I think of this is one of my favorite filters to look at my human experience through, called the upper limit problem, where
Okay.
you do better in life than you believe on a subconscious level you deserve. You know,
Mm.
like say a homeless person who's used to living in the street and believes that that lifestyle, subconsciously has just kind of adapted to that lifestyle. And so, in that sense, quote unquote, believes it is what they deserve. It's
Hmm.
a pretty crude way to put it, but you get what I mean.
No, I get it.
Um, and then they win the lottery, and
Hmm.
3 days later, they're broke again,
Hmm.
because their upper limit detector just went off like, well, we don't deserve this. And the subconscious gets to work on sabotaging it. You know?
Right. Right. Yeah, yeah. I see where you're going, and I recognize this pattern within myself
Yeah.
at times. So totally, and that may be like a mechanism that is present in on the collective level
Yeah,
as
dude,
well.
because I mean, psychedelics are just, they are like to most human egos who realize their potential, just too good to be true. It's
Yeah.
an insane, insane advantage
Right.
in spiritual growth, in self-realization, in just seeing what this game of existence is actually about.
Right. No, I agree with that for
Yeah.
sure. And and I guess that just like, yeah, I think the main thing is that people are just attached to their suffering.
Yeah,
People like familiarity.
exactly.
And I don't know what the quote is, but it was something like your nervous system will always choose a familiar hell, than uncertainty, or something along those lines.
Yes.
And I recognize that within myself, and I think that's a very human response to have, is uh, this fear of the unknown
Yeah.
and fear of change.
Yeah,
But
I
I
mean,
think,
it plays out in every aspect of our lives. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, no, no, but I think these things exist for a reason, because it is possible um, to change things so much that you erode the whole system.
Mm.
Like, these are like metaphysical processes in a certain sense, because you can erect a social structure that serves a certain survival advantage,
Yeah.
and then you may not, like a few generations later, you may not know all the intricacies of how and why that structure was formed, and then you can change it too much, and you can unravel the whole thing and go back to something that's even worse,
Yeah.
if you understand what I mean. So, like, I understand the conservative instinct. It's
Yes.
there for a
Yes.
reason, and certain things are worth conserving. But there's a difference between that and like this clamping down fear response,
Yes.
which is what fascism would be on a collective scale. Like, we need to just crack down and exert absolute control over everything.
Yes.
So that would
Yes.
be the extreme response of the conservative instinct.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the other direction would be, we're just going to dissolve everything into this amorphous blob, and nobody knows what's up or down, and we're going to erode all the structures and just revolution and burn everything down, you know?
That's a particularly interesting subject to me lately. I was talking about before how I'm consuming politics through my flatmate now,
Yeah.
but not by intentional design. But
Yeah.
however it may have come about, I am consuming more politics now, and I've been thinking a lot about left versus right. And versus is such a potent term. It's enemies.
We have to fight our enemies and crush them, destroy them.
Where left is always thought of as, I guess, forward thinking, or thinking in terms of change, or in its extreme form in terms of revolution. Mm-hmm. And the right is the conservative that wants to keep things the way they are. Mm-hmm. And it's like when you introduce these two ideas, they both sound pretty legit. Like,
right.
Just in that format. Like, yes, we should be looking at what we already have and deciding which things of the things that we already have are worth keeping, mm-hmm. And conserving. Mm-hmm. And on the other hand, we should also constantly be on the lookout for improvements to the things that we already have. So it's like, right. It's so like a child could understand this, I don't understand. I guess I don't quite understand how we got into this whole pickle of left versus right, when clearly we need both. Like,
for sure. But it's like, it's so highly context dependent.
Yeah.
And like right now we're in a historical moment where we just drastically need to change some things.
Yeah.
Like, yes. Otherwise we're just going to run society off a cliff.
And we also drastically need to remember some things.
Exactly. For sure. But I think like neither is right or wrong. I think it depends on historical contexts. I guess I'm very wary of this trap of falling into it's called enlightened centrism, of like, both sides are equally good or equally bad.
Yeah.
And like, I'm beyond the fray. I don't pick sides.
You call me out?
Yeah. Yes. Yes, you fraud.
No, do elaborate. Why am I a fraud?
No, you're not a fraud, man.
Kidding, I'm
Just
kidding.
play it.
I know. It's for the bit. Don't worry. Was it for the bit?
No,
Oh.
I'm serious. No, but I think it's like, for example, just like, I'll be blunt about it. If you look at American politics now, like, there's just no way to pretend that both sides are the same. Like, one side has just gone completely off the rails, like insane, from my perspective. It's not to whitewash like the other side, but it like they all have their corruptions and problems. But I think this kind of both sides stuff can just be very problematic at times. Because sometimes we have historical situations where it's just like, okay, like somebody, like there's a whole cult forming here that's just going crazy, and we need to be able to call that out.
Yeah,
That's how I see it.
totally. But you don't. So I assume you're talking about the right now, the
Yes.
right-wing politics in the U.S., which are going
Yeah.
off the rails.
Yeah.
Yes. Is there no sense in which the left-wing politics are kind of going off the rails as well, even if to a lesser degree?
I do think, like, of course, there's always extremism. I do think it gets blown way out of proportion. Like somebody said, like the far left wants to give everybody health care, like the far right wants to kick all the immigrants out of the country. Like those things are just not comparable. But yeah, I do think there's a danger in going too far in any direction, and but I think it's vastly overblown, and I think there's a lot of examples like where like some extremist kids on a college campus, like with a nose ring and purple hair, are like just pictured as some kind of representative of the craziness of what they want to do, and like it's just, for me, it's just so fear-mongery.
This is so real. The nose ring and purple hair.
Yeah.
Precisely. And alternate pronouns.
Yeah. But this is what's threatening to people, is because like all these
Alternative
conceptual
pronouns,
structures that people are used to, they're being dissolved, and people are attached to reality being a certain way, that like this is just what a woman is and this is what a man is, and we have the pronouns and all this. But then like when you start dissolving all this stuff, like there's just this reptile brain survival instinct that kicks in, like, oh my god, everything is falling apart and we just need to crack down on this. And I think it's blown way out of proportion.
Okay, yeah,
like, pronouns are not an existential issue for anybody. Who gives a shit like what pronoun somebody uses?
Dude,
like,
man, I'm so with you on that. Yeah.
yeah.
Who gives a shit? Honestly.
Yeah.
Like what? God,
Yeah.
that's something I got into a vicious Instagram comment fight with this friend of mine I mentioned before. Actually, he was posting some pretty polarizing stuff, shall we say, about Charlie Kirk recently after his just after he was murdered, which just to be clear is terrible and shouldn't
Yes,
happen.
absolutely.
We need to stop shooting each other.
Yes, please.
I absolutely, not that I know a lot about Charlie Kirk, and not that I want this conversation to now revolve around Charlie Kirk.
No.
Apparently he had a lot of ideas that he pushed very strongly, which were very, very much in opposition to what I believe.
Same here.
Yeah. So, again, total disclaimer, I don't watch a lot of the news. I only briefly went and looked into him because I got into this argument, because this friend of mine was posting these posts about Charlie Kirk after he died, saying how he was right, etc., and he may have been right about some stuff, I don't know. And I just kind of trolled him lightly, and he just like it was this video of Charlie Kirk talking about how he was directly asked, "Do you hate the LGBT community, something of that sort, or do you hate gay people and trans people or something?" And he was like, "No, I don't. I have love in my heart for these people." And he was using this post to make the point that he was actually a good person. And I was like, if you gotta post a video about somebody just affirming that they don't hate somebody,
Yeah.
and going like, "Yep, see, A-class human being,"
Yeah. Right,
Not
exactly. If you
not a
really have
very
to go to
strong
these lengths
defense.
to,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's like that should be the bare minimum, if even that.
So yeah, that's what I said. That's what I kind of, and I didn't quite enter the conversation in the most mature way. I kind of trolled him in a way because I was a little bit triggered by these constant posts, and I freely
Yeah.
admit that I could have started that conversation in a more optimal way, in
Mhm.
a more in a way that would have been more conducive to a healthy debate. But so he just pushed back, and he pushed back hard. Like he said, among other things, you're full of shit and
Mhm.
stuff. Like he just went absolutely, just spoke his truth the way it is, the way he always does, and I admire him for that. And man, I have no idea where I was going with this conversation about Charlie Kirk now anymore. Where did this something about conservative politics and oh right, pronouns. We don't like
Yeah.
that was one of his big points in this friend of mine's big points as he was doing all these posts like this is the point I was coming to. I sometime in the past apparently because Instagram asked me to or something put my pronouns on my Instagram profile. I
Mm.
just went, I don't know. It can't hurt to have a he, him up there. I don't know. I don't really care. So I just put it in there. And in one of his comments, this friend of mine went, nobody cares. Like, we don't need to know your pronouns, bro. Um, and I was like, I'd forgotten all about the pronouns on my Instagram profile. Didn't understand that he was referring to that. And I just went like, wow, that was a really random cheap shot out of nowhere. Like, what?
Yeah.
Why would you... So anyway, all that to say, I recently got into a fight about this kind of, and I don't get into many fights. I'm a reasonably chill dude
Yeah.
and an agreeable person. I don't enjoy confrontations very much.
Yeah. High five.
High five, pa. So anyway, good to get practice in confronting people, and
For sure.
a very potent reminder for myself, just like why do you guys care this much about what pronouns people use
Yeah.
for themselves?
And this
What's
goes
the big
back to my
deal?
point of it's just it's so blown out of proportion.
Yeah.
Like it's this hysteria around these social issues that are just not consequential. Um, but
Yeah, it's not. It's just it's
yeah,
not consequential.
but it is because just people are afraid of change and things dissolving their ordinary worldview and their structure that they have built up,
Yeah.
and that is just inherently uh, frightening for human beings. And another point from Leo, I'm basically just a big fraud. I'm just parroting Leo. That's all I do. But I have consumed like probably thousands of hours.
You should get a certificate from him.
Yeah, it's true. But
representative.
I genuinely just think his content is just so in depth and highly illuminating for me. His style is not for everybody, but yeah, he was saying that a good measure of how conservative a person is or isn't is how comfortable would you be with being abducted by aliens and taken into an alien spaceship.
Oh yeah. I'd be like,
And that rang true for
yeah.
me. Yeah.
Get me up there.
But somebody who's just attached to their ordinary reality is, and it's been proven in brain research that conservative people, their brains are more wired towards fear. And
Yeah.
this is not to judge those people, but this is just certain people have this kind of structure.
And fear is useful. That is why this is not a bad thing. Like fear can
Exactly.
be useful.
Yeah, it is. Like we exist here as human beings.
Or it's not necessarily a bad thing, I should say.
No, it serves a very important survival function, and we wouldn't be here without it. Ultimately, you want to be able to transcend it.
Yeah.
Um,
And just have it like one of the counseling voices that you could or could not tune into. Like, oh,
yes.
fear is saying this, but I'm basing my decision.
Right. But another point from Leo is there's a difference between fear and caution.
Oh yeah.
So you can be cautious of not putting your hand in a fire while simultaneously not feeling fear.
Yes.
So yes, I do think like we should, on an individual and collective level, do whatever we can to move towards love and away from fear, but simultaneously understanding the function and the purpose of why fear is here. And I think this is what's important. And this is like where I think, for example, the left is goes too far, is that they demonize conservatives. They don't understand why these people would be more bigoted or xenophobic, and that those are not moral failings. Those are simply byproducts of people who are more fearful.
Yeah.
And that's not always through their own failings. That is the structure they grow up in. Those are the value systems that they are indoctrinated in.
Yeah.
So it's actually about meeting those people where they're at and building some kind of bridge and helping those people to let go of some of their fears.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Just bring
instead
in
of like
empathy.
Yeah, and instead of like, you know, screaming at your racist uncle, maybe you can like take him to go and meet some foreigners and see like, oh, okay, those people are not evil and they're not here to destroy our country.
Yeah, they're just freaking doing their best with what they got, like everybody else.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, bring in some empathy, compassion in there. That's what came up for me as you were sharing that. Bring in some, because you talked about moving away from love. Moving away from
yes
fear.
To fear.
Moving away from fear in the direction of love. It's said that in every moment of our lives we have only one choice to make, and it's between love and fear. Do you want to react to your situation out of love or out of fear? And that will determine the quality of your experience. And I was going to take that like a step further almost and say we need to approach fear with love. Like we need to see that the fear is there, and not because approaching fear, essentially what you were saying, what the left is doing is approaching fear with fear.
Yeah, exactly. So, and they preach this universal love and like embrace of all people except for their political enemies.
Yeah, except that's such a good take.
Yeah, but at the same time, there's nuance to this as well, because you also need to be firm with people.
Yeah,
and if a large portion of the country is becoming fascists, like you may need to be firm and stand your ground and fight.
Yes,
but it's I think it was a quote from Maharaji Ramdas's guru. It went something like, "Do with people what you will, but never put them out of your heart."
Oh.
So like you may need to, like if somebody's attacking you, you may need to like fight them. You may need to push them off. Yeah. But like that's different than actually starting to hate the person.
Yeah. I guess the most important thing is always just that there is a grounds for a conversation between all humans, and a fundamental sense that we're on the same team.
Right, exactly.
Although being on the same team, I suppose, is also an extension of the reptile brain tribalism. Just like,
it's true. I mean, we're on the same team as humanity, but you can take it even further that we are part of this whole planetary ecosphere. Mm-hmm. And you know, the larger your sphere of concern is, that is just the hallmark of your spiritual maturity.
Oh yeah.
If it's just yourself individually, you're a narcissist. If it's just like your family, you're a nepotist.
Yeah.
If it's just your tribe or ethnicity, you're a racist. Yeah. If it's just humanity, you're destroying the ecosphere because you're placing humanity as the highest. Yeah. But once you expand it to the whole planet, you know, that's ultimately where you want to get to.
Yes. Well, I had something. I had something I was gonna say. It was
Rest in peace.
gonna.
It's,
um. Yeah. Being the same ecosphere you were saying. I was gonna say. Oh, at a certain point, the ideas just get so deep. Gotta. They're so
just
nuanced.
holding space for this
Just
moment. This is like what I have the hardest time of letting go of. It's like when I kind of remember something, but I don't, and it's there, but it isn't, and you kind of
it's like
almost got it.
a fading dream.
Yeah. It's
So
like this almost the same feeling as when you're trying to sneeze, but you can't.
yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
Like you almost got it, but
Yeah, God damn it, God. Like coming back from a psychedelic ceremony, like I had it. I was God. I was God. I'm God. I'm not God anymore. Oh,
yeah,
oh well.
yeah, exactly. That's such a funny moment when you come back and you kind of want to hold on to the experience, but then you realize that's just your attachment as well.
Yeah.
Like being attached to being non-attached is a thing.
Oh God, yeah, God, yeah, get us into that conversation about spiritual frauds right now.
Yeah,
Like,
right. I mean, I am too, to one degree or another. I
yeah,
think,
same.
as I say, it's important to have that level of self-reflection about it.
It's
But I
something
try to be like as clear and truthful and I can about it. So I guess.
me too, me too. Yeah, an important realization was for me spending time in spiritual communities, where more or less everybody, like in small towns, like one that I've spent some significant amount of time in is San Marcos in Guatemala, which is this beautiful beautiful lakeside town by Lago Atitlan. I recommend everybody go Google that. It's a beautiful place.
Mhm.
And you start seeing that within the spiritual community there is a top dog. Like
Mhm.
there's a person who's the most woke, who's the
Mhm.
most spiritually awakened. And the
Mhm.
funny paradox is that being the most spiritually awakened means not caring about being the most spiritually awakened.
Right.
You know, so it's like it becomes this game about who is the best at not caring about if they're winning the game.
Yeah. It's so funny because these are the circles where like people really tell themselves that they're beyond all these things. And
Yeah.
that's the most dangerous part because that's when those
Yes.
mechanisms they can start to sneak in.
Yeah. It's
Like
like the night is darkest before the dawn, man. That's
yeah,
the ego gets the strongest stranglehold when you think you fully let go of it.
exactly.
It fights
Totally.
back the hardest.
Yeah, absolutely. And I had something now I was gonna say, but like I guess this is just what we're doing. We're just
Keep pinballing around. Yeah, but it's been a very helpful realization for me. This one,
yeah. Oh, I remembered. It was yeah. There was another quote. Like I'm just a collection of quotes by this point, but
relate.
like the people who are aware that they're full of shit are the people that you should trust, and the people who claim that they're not full of shit are the people you should run away from.
Yes, yes. This is just tackling all those Instagram gurus in one fell swoop.
Yeah, yeah,
Just oh
yeah.
God, yeah, yeah, yeah,
And like, and being full of shit is just part of the human condition. Like bullshitting is just like a way we've survived. Like deception is actually just a deeply interwoven part of nature. Like this is how animals engage in like hunting. You know, they
yeah,
pretend to be something else, and then boom, like we got you. So I think that's like getting to this point of like not judging all those things, but they're just natural parts of our survival.
yeah,
So deception and bullshitting, like that's part of being human. And there's nothing to be ashamed about it. It's just becoming aware of it, being honest about it, and then doing your best just to gradually do a little bit less of all that.
yeah. Yes, yes, through love and understanding of those parts of yourself.
Yeah,
This is
exactly.
bringing me, like, what's coming up for me as you're sharing this is how my I was working with a therapist a few months ago. I stopped working with her. I went into what's called GIM, which is a type of music led therapy, where you essentially lie down, put some headphones on, and we did this over Zoom online. And there's like a playlist that you get taken through of all kinds of mostly classical music, but it can be anything really, or tribal music or something, for about half an hour. And you just close your eyes and concentrate on the body essentially, and go on something similar to a psychedelic experience in terms of like what it does to the brain.
Right.
Um, and then you come back from it, like you can experience some really deep states of oneness during a trip like this, even if you're not taking any psychedelics or anything like that. There's no assistance. There's no nothing to assist you aside from just the music and concentrating on the body. You're in a normal conscious state.
Hmm.
And something she used to say to me, as she's a middle-aged Argentinian woman, and she has
Best
said,
kind.
yes, just she had the most, like, I always felt like she was a bit like a mom to me in a bit of a sense, you know.
Uh-huh.
She went, every time I said I had something difficult coming up, she went. This is gonna be funnier for the people watching on video, but it's like she always went. She had this incredible way of expressing herself with body language, like Spanish speakers usually do. Like there's this culture of like really like going into what you're saying and kind of moving your body all throughout whatever
As it
you're.
should be.
Yes, man. We got something wrong in Northern Europe for some reason.
Yes.
So I used to say, so, this came up and my life's kind of hard right now, and I've been kind of feeling, scarcity around money and whatever, just not feeling good right now. And she was like, that's beautiful to me. That's amazing. It's just with her whole body just went like, it's so, that's being human, just like absolutely. And I felt that's what came up for me as you were relating what you just said about relating to your shadows in a positive way. Like it is
Right.
the reason that God manifested themselves, to get back to the pronoun discussion, themselves,
Yeah.
as us in this experience, to be able to have the negative experiences every bit as much as the positive experiences.
Completely. Taste the rainbow.
Taste the rainbow. Skittles. Just
Yeah, apparently they don't have black Skittles. I guess they're like doing spiritual bypassing there.
woo, yeah, I mean,
They don't want to go into the deep darkness. They should have like black Skittles that like taste horrible, just so you can actually taste the rainbow all the way.
I mean, to be fair, black isn't really a part of the rainbow, is it?
That is true.
Like,
I mean,
scientifically speaking, it's not a color. It's the absence.
Right. Right. Yeah, I guess when I speak of the rainbow, I'm speaking of like the whole full spectrum of everything that's possible.
Yeah, you're.
But maybe a rainbow is not the best word for that. But
Yeah, yeah. It's okay. I see the kind of more meta sense. Rainbow.
yeah.
Rainbow.
I guess it's like the best picture is like the Pink Floyd album cover
Oh yeah.
because it encapsulates the whole thing.
I mean, I guess in that sense, black is a part of the rainbow because you couldn't see it if there weren't black in the background.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. See, duality.
Yeah.
We're back.
Yeah. We're back. We cannot escape. This subject haunts us. It is
boy.
the meat of the subject.
The meat and potatoes, the bread and the butter.
Yeah, everything. So yeah, I feel like we've just about covered like every subject
Yes.
in under 2 hours, like politics, metaphysics, and spirituality, and like
Somehow we started with politics. How did that happen?
That's good though. I feel like we've been like relatively structural about the whole thing. Like that's another distinction that's very important, is like this distinction of content and structure. And content is just like getting caught in all the little pieces of content that are happening, and then structure is looking at the bigger picture patterns that are underlying the whole phenomenon. I think that's so important, especially when dealing with politics. It's so easy for people to get caught in the content and not observing the underlying patterns that describe what content arises, basically.
Yeah. So you're saying structure is essentially a deeper concept than content.
Yes.
Yeah, it's more fundamental.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's very helpful for dealing with basically any topic. But I feel like we're kind of naturally inclined to look at things that way. But it is very easy to get caught in content of like, oh, this person said this and this person did that, instead of, okay, why did that take place?
That's the distinction for you. I see. Yeah. Where did that come from within that person?
Yes.
Why, what could they have gone through to lead them to the point where they decided to call a random stranger on the street a douchebag?
Yeah, exactly.
Have you had one of those moments where...
I've never called anyone randomly. I don't really call people douchebags much.
No, I mean...
I'm aware you were speaking in the other direction. Just random. I mean, I live in Iceland, which is relatively... It's so funny because we're like... There's pros and cons with everything, but we're kind of socially isolated in so many ways.
Yeah.
We don't interact too much outside. We just exist in our own bubble and don't really want to be bothered. And for somebody who is like introverted and autistic and all that, as I am, it's that can be nice because you just want to exist in... Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Like, I'm pretty convinced by this point. I've never been diagnosed. I've never gone through that process, but it's just like, I've heard enough people who are autistic say to me like, yeah, you're on the spectrum.
It's break it to you, buddy. You're one of us.
Yeah, I did get diagnosed with ADHD, which is definitely present, but I think there's both. But yeah, like Icelanders, and this is hard for a lot of people that come here, that come from warmer countries.
Yeah.
And it's so funny, like I noticed this parallel. It's like people tend to have a warmer presence in warmer countries.
Yeah. Don't get me started.
Yeah. But that can also like translate into more heat. People can also be kind of more explosive.
Yeah.
And in Iceland, like we're very cold.
Yeah.
We're just,
It's just about the size of it.
Yeah. And that's, it makes sense that people in the colder place are colder, and it affects society in this way that you're not coming together as much outside, and people are more atomized into their own little warm corners, so they're not freezing outside.
Yeah, and nobody wants to live in cold places, so there's fewer people, so you see fewer people.
Yeah.
Whereas in the warm places, that's where the food just grows on its own from the ground, and everything's there in abundance, and everybody wants to live there. It's why warmer countries, Mediterranean countries, are so war-ridden throughout the centuries.
Right, everybody's rushing in, trying to get a piece of the pie.
Everybody wants those, everybody wants to stop eating exclusively potatoes and get some of that.
I mean, if you look
stuff.
at our kind of cultural foods, traditional foods in Iceland, like I understand why people would like if anyone listening is not familiar with this, look up traditional Icelandic food.
Okay, or don't.
Or don't. Yeah, I have a friend in America who's like very curious about Iceland. And we made a pact that, like, I stay away from those foods, but we made a pact that we were going to hold hands and try them all together.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I think it's like, yeah, if I really preach radical open-mindedness, like I need to walk my talk, basically.
Yeah, yeah. You need to, yeah. I mean, it's a great bonding strategy. Just if I have a horrible experience together.
That's so funny because like recently I've been, because as I say to people, I'm cashing in my midlife crisis. At 26, I'm getting it over with. So I'm getting myself pierced and I'm getting tattoos, and and the mustache and the
Getting
motorbike should
divorced
be
as well.
incoming.
Is that?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, all of it.
Oh shit! Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to touch on that.
I mean, I was not married, but yes, that counts.
Recent breakup, yes, indeed.
Yeah, and holy shit! Wait, my phone is dying. We were talking about like how you bond with people through going through something difficult together. And I was just making a point about like starting to get pierced and tattooed, and noticing like just how you meet somebody very briefly, but you go through an intense experience of pain. And then you just feel like you know them so well.
Yeah.
Because you go through this together. And I start to imagine like when people go through war or something together.
God.
Like it's just like going through something intense with a person is just inherently bonding in some way.
Because of the tribalism, at least partially, I think, that we talked about before, because you experience that you're in the same tribe fighting the same war against the same enemy,
Right. Exactly.
And
I wonder how that applies to getting tattooed, though.
Yeah.
Because then you're just sitting there and somebody's just like going to town on you, But
yeah. If somebody is sitting beside you and getting tattooed at the same time, and perhaps this would be more applicable if you were getting tattooed on a very sensitive body part together than.
Right.
You might experience facing hardship together.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's so fun. Maybe it's like a subtle form of Stockholm syndrome. Like you start to bond with your torture.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a field of psychology that's very interesting that I've not like dived into. Divin?
I believe they're both correct at this point. It's one of those verbs that's slowly getting the regular conjugation, but is the old conjugation is still holding on, like Slade versus slain or slew. Slew because a knight slew a dragon, but Beyonce slayed at her concert.
Right.
It's whole conversation about linguistics that I'd be very interested to have, but we don't need to go there now.
Linguistics that's also something I'd like to dive into more, because that also connects directly into the whole like metaphysics and all that stuff.
I was gonna say, it also connects what we were talking about before about people who come from warmer countries are warmer. And they have very much reflects in the languages that they speak. Because
your language is very much kind of it's the building blocks of your mind in a certain sense.
Yeah, it's another filter for your experience.
Yeah, and it's funny because like yes, I am largely the same person, but like I notice these different channels when I'm speaking English and when I'm speaking Icelandic, just the subtle differences of the language. They influence the way I perceive reality.
Yeah, totally.
And experience myself in reality.
100%.
And it's funny because I've heard from people that have been studying like Taoist philosophy or Chinese spirituality and philosophy. They say it's difficult to study because a lot of these concepts that they have don't translate into English.
Yeah.
So it's you may need to learn the language to be able to appreciate fully that system of philosophy, basically.
Yeah, and now we're just getting into the asymmetry of thought in the East and the West that we talked about. I believe we talked about that on the phone call the other day.
That we shamefully did not record.
Yes, God.
But we're just gonna record everything from now on.
Yes, yeah, no phone calls, no private phone calls ever again.
We're fully public. We're
fully
airing our dirty laundry in front of the whole world.
But just making sure that it's a bit less dirty than everybody else's.
Yeah, because we're inherently superior. That's how it goes.
Exactly. We are morally superior.
Yes.
Our laundry is the best laundry.
Yeah.
And the best deals you always get from us.
No, I don't care though. Like, fuck it. Like, you know, my laundry is less dirty than somebody like Andrew Tate. You know, I don't care.
You're allowed to say it, brother. I support you.
Yeah.
And
those are a lot of the people that are spreading information to people out in the world. So like, I may not be perfect in my understanding and communication, but you know, if somebody listens to me instead of that guy, like, I think that's a step in the right direction, I think.
Oh, yes. Yes. Yes, I would be inclined to agree. Yeah, should we take it back to the linguistics? There's a lot of directions we could go for the last 10 minutes or so here.
Mm-hmm.
Linguistics.
Linguini.
What?
Linguini.
It's Italianized the English word I just said.
Yeah.
Linguini. Or we could go asymmetry of thought in East and West.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I think we want to go there.
Yeah, let's go.
Talk about, so basically, what we agreed, the point I made, I think, in our phone call the other day is that it's just, oh, right, this is one of the most hilarious parts of our conversation there, because it's like everybody in the West missed the memo. Everybody. Every single person missed the memo that you are actually God. And that it is a reality, it is a real possibility. I've heard Sam Harris talk about this as well. It's just so incredible that everybody forgot that you can't have, there is a possibility to live your life without being constantly caught up in your thoughts.
Right.
And the East, both, you see this in at least Hinduism and Taoism, and I don't know, probably other parallel schools of ideology that I don't know about. But at least those two I can point to pretty confidently and be like
they have a lot of like delineations, if that's the right word.
Yeah.
Of, you know, they were just more up to scratch with all that stuff, and we just entirely missed the whole thing. And what's so funny is like, even like somebody like Sam Harris is so caught up in the rational, like the Western rationalism, like that he almost has it. But you can see, like, I've heard conversations between him and Rupert Spira, for example, and like he still doesn't grasp it all the way, and you can feel it. He's like he goes as far with that as a rationalist can, but he's just still stuck in his rational mind, and it's so funny.
I'm very interested to listen to that conversation. Actually,
do you know Rupert Spira?
No.
Oh yes, I sent you some meditations from him.
Right. Yeah. God, which fell into the same category in my brain because they were just way too long for me to.
Yeah. Right. Beautiful teacher, like one of the best, most clear and direct spiritual teachers I've found, and it's just very interesting to see, because just the rational mind is just inherently limited, and you can never really fully grasp enlightenment through your mind in that way.
Yeah, exactly. Sweet. Yeah, there's so many very well captured in the koans of Zen Buddhism, of course. Yeah. That idea. Just try to kind of use words to point you in the direction to that which is nowhere, really. Like you can't point in its direction, but you can try to kind of create some kind of abstraction in reality, in the kind of reality that your brain can comprehend.
It's actually meant to break your mind. And for people that don't understand, like, I've never heard this concept of a koan. It's these kind of riddles that Zen masters throw at you. Like, what's the sound of clapping one hand? And they don't mean like, some people can clap with one hand.
I can't do it.
No, I can't. I've never been able to do it. But, or like, something like what's the sound of the mountains, or like it's stuff along those lines. It's meant to actually take you beyond your mind.
Yeah.
Meant to break your mind.
Should we drop like a legit... Okay, I got one that I kind of want to drop right now. Which might be interesting to some people listening. Like, you may have heard Sam Harris tell this one as well. It's one of my favorites. He goes, this is an old story from Zen Buddhism. I don't believe it's a koan per se, but it's meant to serve a similar purpose as a koan. And it's about a young monk apprentice who's sitting in the temple and he's meditating. And his master comes up to him and asks him, "What are you doing?" And the apprentice goes, "I'm meditating to attain enlightenment." And the master says nothing in response. He sits down next to his apprentice, and he picks up a brick and he starts rubbing it with his robe. And this goes on for several hours. And they sit there together, the student meditating.
I get it.
Yeah. And the master rubbing the brick with his robe. And eventually, the student can't sit on his curiosity any longer. He's just like, "Master, what on earth are you doing over there? What are you..." And the master says, I'm rubbing this brick until it becomes a mirror.
Right.
And the point of this story, as you've probably already grasped, is that you can't really meditate to attain enlightenment in much the same way you can't rub a brick until it becomes a mirror, because bricks and mirrors are fundamentally different things, and what you can't really convert.
You can't do anything to become yourself, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just for like meditation is basically just about stopping, or not even that is too much doing in a certain sense, but it's letting all the things that get in the way of you simply being yourself, just letting them slowly fade away.
Yeah.
Because it is already what you are, and there's nothing you can do that makes you more yourself. But there are certain things you can stop doing in a certain sense that get in the way of that.
Yeah, but essentially it's about letting it all just melt away like an ice cube in the sunshine, just
right,
with the sun being loving awareness, or that which you are.
That sounds almost too pleasant not to give anybody the wrong impression. If you're interested in meditation,
it can make it hurt.
Just get your expectations clear. There can be a lot of pleasant experiences through that, but it's also going to be extremely challenging, and it can feel a lot like drowning your ego, because your ego, your separate self, relies on sensory input and thoughts and all these things to maintain its own separate existence. And when you start, it's basically putting your ego in solitary confinement, and it will feel like it's going insane because all the oxygen that it needs to maintain its existence are taken away.
Yeah.
So it can very much feel like you're suffocating, but you're actually, if you want to follow the process through all the way, you just let yourself drown, because that separate self is not actually who you are, and letting that part drown is part of the process of meditation. If you wish to take it in that direction, some people do it just to relieve stress, and that's one application, but that's not what I'm primarily interested in.
Yeah. I mean, that's like a surface level approach.
Yeah, valid, but
certainly helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel called to share a poem about this at this point.
Okay, bring it on.
It's called "On Shedding Layers."
Great. Like an onion.
I think you can see where this is coming from. I do know it by heart, but I'm gonna have it in front of me anyway to be sure. I wrote this during a psychedelic experience in Guatemala. Very much, yeah. These thoughts were very present for me. What does it mean to be me? And I kept having these identity crises where I kept, self-actualizing and realizing that certain parts of myself didn't serve me and letting go of those parts of myself consciously, and then still being like, wait, who am I then if that I identified with that, and then I realized it didn't serve me, so I let it go, but it still introduced that identity crisis, like what the heck even am I then? So I was really contemplating what it means to shed all these layers. So here you go. On shedding layers sounds like this. Is an apple tree still an apple tree in the height of picking season? Is a king still highborn when he's been tossed aside by treason? Well, I once met a man who'd shed every layer of skin, and to inspect truly and fully what lay within, he dug and invited each earthworm to walk through his door. He got to his center, found that there wasn't a core. And in so doing, he let go of his humanity. And though others might perceive in him insanity, I know that his shedding ventures only left him so light that his soul in the end could not help but to take off in flight. Whether flight from a foe or the flight of the angels that soar depends on the eye of the one who's keeping the score. Whether flight from a foe or the flight of the angels that soar depends on the eye of the one who's keeping the score. But an angel is there to be found where the blue meets the green in each one of us on the path that lies in between. We're told it's our purpose to heal every one of our scars. But can you handle the fear of truly knowing who you are? The layers of the onion, you see, do not fall away to reveal a prize to whomever sets aside time to lay their eyes on the maddening pace of the signals that race through one's mind and all of the infinite beauty that's hidden behind the curtains, the players, the games, the plot, and the plan. So I'll hold on to just enough secrets to still be a man.
Wait, who was that?
Who?
Yeah, who wrote that?
I did.
Oh, you did? Oh, yes, of course. Wow, it was so good that I was like, I felt like you were reading like something from Rumi or something. I forgot that you told me you had wrote that. So I guess that's high praise.
This is, I'll cut that out as a testimonial.
Beautiful. It reminds me. Wait, now let me see. I don't know if you've heard of a band called Spangle.
No. What?
They are kind of, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, like electronic psychedelic bands, and people listen to them a lot while tripping. They have a line in the end of a song that's called "How the Jellyfish Jumped Up the Mountain." And let me see if I can find it.
Yeah.
And I have a jellyfish phobia. I'm scared to death of them.
Yeah, man. Fuck jellyfish. Honestly,
they're so fucking creepy.
So
like they have
gross,
all the
man.
creepy aspects of spiders, but on steroids.
And in water, in like where you're not on home turf as a human being.
Right.
You're screwed.
Right.
I remember swimming in Spain once and seeing like this big plastic bag bulge around on the bottom. I had these goggles on so I could see underwater. And I was looking at this plastic bag and it looked really, really interesting. This transparent plastic bag just kind of in the undercurrent, on the bottom, a few meters below me. Uh-huh. And then I realized it wasn't a plastic bag. It was a huge motherfucking jellyfish.
Fuck that, man. Fuck that.
I literally screamed.
Yeah, I can't even look at pictures of jellyfish. They freak me out so much.
Okay, it's definitely, even with the trauma, that's not quite where I'm at, but I can definitely
Yeah.
sympathize.
I mean, ever since I was a kid. But yeah.
I once tasted jellyfish.
Really?
I,
It's so funny. I was out.
never,
The face of shock.
you've never done that head turn on me like that.
Like, holy fuck, I did not.
Really?
It's funny because I was speaking to the same friend from America that we should try a piece of jellyfish together as well.
I did. I was in the third or fourth grade. I must have been around, I don't know, 9 or 10, and we did an excursion at school to the beach, to the black sand beach of Akureyri, Iceland. My hometown. It was quite cold, and I saw dead jellyfish. You see lots of dead jellyfish on Icelandic beaches, I think, or at
Yeah,
least
but
I
they're
have.
relatively like minor compared to, you know,
They're small.
yeah.
Yes, they're small. And I saw one of those dead ones, and I was like, "What if I just?" I've always been curious, and I just took a little piece of it, and I ate it.
Wow, that's impressive.
And my
I should do that to face my fear.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it was the story of my life is doing some crazy shit like that just to get attention. I was like back in the
Yeah.
day, I was trying to get everybody riled up around me, like, "What the fuck are you doing, Tim? I can't believe this shit." So I was now the center of attention, and then
Wow.
teacher came in, and it was no longer fun and games. Yeah.
Oh damn. All that to bring it back to this song, how the jellyfish jumped up the mountain. I couldn't find
Yes, bring it on.
like there's like a part in the end of the song when one of the members of Spangle he says something like, "Sometimes I feel like a cosmic onion.
Oh yeah,
Each
yeah.
time you find another layer. And then when all the layers are peeled off, what do you have then? Nothing." So yeah.
But you do have something.
Well, now we're getting into the distinction of nothing and something.
Yeah.
And,
Is nothing something?
Yes.
Is nothing a thing?
depends how you define a thing.
Yeah. Is it the absence of things, I suppose, is a concept in and of itself. Yes.
Yeah. So, absolutely nothing is so absolute that it is absolutely everything.
Mm.
Like, because if it's absolutely nothing, it has no boundaries.
Oh yeah.
So,
Like one does nothing and nothing is left undone.
yeah. Well, that's another Spangle song title. Like, nothing is something worth doing.
Nothing.
Yeah, everybody go listen to Spangle. Like, I'm here to preach
You take
about this
one
band.
thing away from this episode. Let it
Yeah.
be this.
Yeah, go
Spangle.
listen to Leo and Spangle. I'm not a part of a cult, I swear.
But it's a great point, man, because I mean we've been talking all kinds of fancy words, and going all kinds of roundabout ways to pointing at the same truth during this episode.
Yeah,
But
it's also fun, you know.
it's also it you don't need that many words. In fact, no amount of words, no matter how many or how few are ever gonna nail it exactly. So you
Yeah.
might as well just listen to Spangle. Is what we're saying.
Exactly, totally. Yeah, yeah, it's such a great band. That was like when I was starting to experiment with psychedelics. Like Spangle was just. I actually stopped listening to them because I just wanted to reserve their music for like those kinds of occasions. You know, it became that sacred for me. So
Yeah.
like, yeah. And that's another conversation I would love to have. I don't think we'll have time to really dive into it, but that's the intersection. Like, I'd say we have the same two top interests, which are music and spirituality. And
Yeah.
I'm very curious about, like, I love the intersection of those things.
Yeah.
So I think that's something we could leave on the shelf for next time.
Yeah, we could. I mean, we could go on for hours more. Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could basically just do this and do nothing else.
Yeah. Yeah. We could. I'm thinking, man. This is like we're brainstorming, spitballing where we want to take or where you want to take this podcast. I suppose this is like, are we still picturing this as me as a guest on your podcast?
This is something I've been thinking about because, like, honestly, like, I think we could co-host it, but it like you have some time restrictions more so than me.
Sundays are good.
Okay, honestly, like, I would love to do that, and I have some guests in mind. I would
Yeah,
love to speak to Martin together.
yeah,
Um, and he's you know, somewhat known, so that can also help some people to discover us.
yeah, yeah, man.
So I would love to bring guests on and then like approach that from both of our perspectives. But I think like my main vision is like I want to speak about spirituality, metaphysics, and music. So
Yes,
I think it would mostly be people from those fields,
yeah,
musicians, or people who are in the field of spiritual stuff.
yes, yeah, man. I would love to. Like that would be so much fun. Just getting
Yeah.
different, getting like a different guest every week, and the two of us kind of picking their
Damn,
brain.
I would be up for that.
That'll
Honestly,
be
yeah,
so much fun. And the weeks where we don't have any guests, we just do do a replay of what we did today and see where it goes.
exactly. Yeah, beautiful. I'm happy it's happening because I've been sitting on this for ages,
Yeah,
and it's one of those things that is like, oh, I always like wanted to have a podcast. I feel like I have a lot of things to say. I feel like I have spent thousands of hours studying a lot of this stuff,
yeah,
so
same.
it's definitely worth something to put it into the world, and people make of that what they will, or if anybody listens at all, we'll see.
Yeah,
But yeah, we're just injecting ourselves into the ocean of podcasts
yeah,
that are available.
into the multi, into the.
I saw a podcast named Not Another Podcast the other day.
Oh God, whatever you
Yeah.
do, like, oh my God, if we are. Well, do you remember? Do you know who Aaron Hansen is? This is very random. Aaron
No.
Hansen of Game Grumps. He's also known as Ego Raptor.
I've heard of Game Grump. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember this like from
Like,
many years back.
he went big on YouTube doing animations, I believe, as far as I know. That's how he got started. Just animating, being really funny, and then one day he tweeted some like, "If I ever start a Let's Play channel, kill me."
Right. Yeah.
And now that's his shtick.
Yeah, I mean it's like you can't be too bothered about what everybody else is doing. This is something I've had to grapple with because it's like I noticed and now everybody's becoming a musician, much so than it used to be, and like people it doesn't hold the same weight in a certain sense as it used to. It's not as unique
Mm.
to be a musician because like all the resources are so available, which
Yeah.
is good in one way, but it also I think can uh, a lot of people can really pretend to be making music and really just um, relying on the capacity of new technology to produce amazing sounding stuff while
Yeah.
not doing much. So it can like elevate people that don't have a lot of skill all up to the same level as people who have spent years building up those skills.
And in some cases, it's not even humans. We could get
Yeah,
into that as
exactly.
well.
Yeah, yeah. And this is a whole different thing that's like we're
The
gonna have
real
to grapple
can of
with
worms.
as a society. But it's like, but at some point I was like, okay, like I can't be too bothered about what everybody else is doing or like what weight it holds for people to be a musician. Like, yes, it was more fun when I could send a song to somebody and they would be like, "Oh, cool, you made a song," instead of like, "Oh, you're the fifth person today who sent me their song."
Oh yeah.
But again,
Good
just gotta
Lord.
do it for your own
Yeah.
enjoyment of the
Whatever.
process.
If you're a musician, never ever look up how many hours of music get uploaded to Spotify every minute. Still,
Yeah, it's
you don't want to
crazy.
know.
Yeah. But then again, it's the same stuff because I'm pretty sure that like 90% of it is just crap, you know?
Yeah.
Just people recording just stuff on their phone and just
Totally. There's no quality control. Anybody
Yeah,
can go
yeah.
in there.
and maybe that's fine, but it's like it becomes an ocean and it is harder to stick out or break through. But it's like I think if you enjoy it enough, Like even if you have, and this is something I really had to come to terms with, is like even if I, and I heard Dead Mouse say this, like he had some kind of course and he said, if you are able to impact the life of even one person, you've done your job.
Yeah.
That actually changed my whole perspective
Yes.
on music. It's like I'm not trying to become famous, like that's enough for me. And I received
Yes.
a comment recently of somebody saying like, your music plus psychedelics helped me to heal from heroin and benzo addiction. I was like, fuck yeah. Like
Wow.
this is the reason I make music.
Yes.
It's not, I don't, yes, sure, it's nice to be like playing in some people's cars, as wallpaper, which is how a lot of people engage with music, and that's fine. But like, I'm interested in like, does it genuinely affect somebody,
Yeah.
and does it have an impact?
Hmm. Positive impact.
Yeah.
I'm on the right path. Yeah.
Or the wrong path.
Or the wrong-
Let's kill people with music.
Yeah, yeah, like Led Zeppelin channeling the devil.
Yeah.
I'm joking. I'm joking. Jesus, don't.
You're gonna
don't
get hordes
take
of
that quote out of
angry,
context.
angry Led Zeppelin fans are coming at you.
Oh,
This goes back to the beginning of the podcast of like, you just need to be controversial enough to get people angry on social media.
yeah,
Like this is basically like Trump became president by using this technique. Think about
yeah,
it. Just like if you're just controversial enough, get people talking about you.
yeah.
Like this is black magic. If anything, it's black magic.
Totally. This is casting. This is spell casting with words.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And he just became a master. Like he's not a very bright person, but he just mastered how to fucking stay in the spotlight.
I mean, he's in that sense, he is a very bright person because he fucking
yeah, and in that very narrow domain
in that domain he beat the shit out of everybody.
Yeah, exactly. It's true. I don't think he's even conscious about it. It's just like an instinctive thing of like just, yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Just no filter. Yeah, that's why I read a whole book about this, man. Like why Hillary lost when Trump was elected for the first time, because it was always like had to go through a committee before we can, tweet that. We don't know if it's okay to tweet that. Whereas Trump was just like no filter. These guys are
people are hungry for authenticity, and that's the thing. And that's good. People want authenticity, but you can get somebody who's authentic and also just a complete idiot.
Maybe get somebody who's not authentically an idiot.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
But there's a lesson there for people, though, like because we don't want our leaders to be just fucking robots,
Yeah,
we want people who are relatable to human beings. But still, I'd rather have a robot that knows what he's doing than authentic asshole who puts everything into shit.
Yes. Yes. Although I'm sure we could find people who disagree with that.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see in 4 years how happy people are. It's already unraveling pretty fast.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's see.
God. Yeah, the gloves are coming off.
Yeah. But sometimes like you just like an alcoholic, you need to hit rock bottom to be able to push yourself up to the surface. So
let's just hope that the rock bottom doesn't include nuclear war, please.
Yes. Let's hope we have evolved past that, and hope that people are aware enough that it's going to impact them personally and absolutely everyone.
Yeah.
So like, and to one degree, like the world has never been more unified. Like through trade, through internet, we're all in a certain sense relying on each other.
Yeah.
So that makes war so much more difficult because like it's just like your hand wouldn't want to attack your foot.
Yeah.
Because their survival agendas are very intimately interwoven.
Yeah.
So
that was an extremely technical way of saying that. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I'm full of jargon, man. I've listened to too much Leo. It's just I'm full of
That's good. Very
sophisticated nomenclature, as they say.
Yes, and in that sense, maybe this could be the last word for today's podcast, or this could be the last thought we discuss.
Totally.
I'd say we are like materialistically dependent on each other now through trade and through international capitalism, etc.
Yeah.
So we don't. So it's in our best interest to help each other, and we're starting to see that capitalism works best when we're trying to help each other and not screw each other over.
Right.
And then the next step in that evolution is to realize it spiritually and not just materialistically, that we're all actually just the same thing.
Yeah,
And
the materialistic
just trying to have
part,
a good time here.
yeah, it's just the material connection acts as a safeguard, because it just, even if you're acting selfishly, you don't want to pollute the ocean because it's going to impact you.
Yeah.
So on that level, it's important to also just be aware of the material interdependence.
Yeah.
But over time, inevitably, I think we will get to the point where we realize that on a deeper level as well.
Totally. Like that brings me back to the idea that not everything, it need not be verifiable in order to be worth believing in. That's one of those things for me. That's like, we're getting there. We will get there. I just have to believe that we will get there.
Yeah, I don't believe in believing. So I'm open to that happening or not, but I do think there's a trajectory here.
I mean, another way to say what I just said is, in my understanding of the word believing, is just that I'm operating on the assumption that it is going to happen.
That's good. I don't mean to, well, the word escapes me. I don't mean to rob you of your belief,
No, don't worry. Don't worry about that. Don't patronize me like that. You can't. Hey, you can't rob me of my belief, son. You can try.
Well, let's see.
Let's see where you end up.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. So it's been fun, and let's keep doing this.
Let's keep doing this, brother. Thank you so much for making this happen. Let's be in touch about how we produce and upload this, and
absolutely,
and what the next steps will be, and let's try to put in the raps here. Let's try to make this a regular thing, and and make it grow. Invest in it.
Awesome, beautiful. I'm a fan.
Yay! High five!
High five!
Alrighty. Till the next time. Cut.